True, nervous, very, very dreadfully nervous. I had been and am. But why will you say that I am a cheater? The disease had sharpened my sense, not destroyed, not dulled them. Above all was a sense of hearing acute. I heard all things in the heaven and in the earth. I heard many things in hell. How then am I a cheater? Hearken and observe how healthily, calmly I can tell you the whole story. It is impossible to say how the idea entered my brain, but once conceived, it haunted me day and night. There was no objection to it. Rather, it seemed that my conscience had left me for a foe. It had no reason to deceive the system. Rather, it was simply a pursuit of the deed, with temptation binding me in its throes. For the grade I did not desire. It was a thrill of the act that enthralled me into the arms of the lustful temptation. Whenever it fell upon me, my blood ran cold. And so by degrees, very gradually, I made up my mind to take the answer key to the final exam. This is the point. You fancy me a cheater. Cheaters know nothing. But you should have seen me. You should have seen how wisely I proceeded, with what caution, with what foresight, with what dissimulation I went to work. I was never kinder to my instructor, offering to stay late and help copy papers in pursuit of the key. On the day I determined as my attempt, I had my head in and was about to open the door when my thumb slipped upon the metal of the doorknob, and my teacher called from the hall. "Where have you gone?" I kept quite still and said nothing. For a whole hour I did not move a muscle, and in the meantime I did not hear her move towards me with a clack of her heels. She was in the teacher's lounge, and in the meantime I did not hear her leave. I was smarter than the average cheater, and so I abandoned my endeavors for a safer time. I pitied her in her inherent stupidity, although I chuckled at heart. I know she has kept her answers secure for years in the case a student might be brave enough to seek them. Her fears have been doubled throughout the years with the increase of technology, giving masterminds more tools to crack the code. However, I resorted to old-fashioned ways that could not be traced to a server, rather only told with the tongue of a mortal. That next hour, I was more cautious in my endeavor of opening the door to obtain the sacred key. A watch's minute hand moves more quickly than did mine. Never before that day had I felt the extent of my own powers, of my sagacity. I could scarcely contain my feelings of triumph. To think that there I was opening the door, little by little, and she did not even dream of my secret deeds or thoughts. I fairly chuckled at the idea of my own audacity. I laid my foot on the tile floor, upon its speckled, differentiating shades of gray and blue. Their precise alignment comforted me as I continued, my toes barely grazing each tile. I heard the clock ticking in the background. Tick, tick, tick. The slight whirring of the fan, buzzing in the background and threatening to tell the tale of my crime, yet they made it easier for me to conceal myself. I made it to the gray desk without fault, touching the cold, slick metal of the desk, and slowly, very slowly, I opened the metal drawer that protested at my slight movements. I gathered myself and thumbed through the files until I found it. It was alone basking in its solo glory. I swear I saw a light shine from it. Oh, I swear it. I grabbed the paper and left. And as slowly as I had come, I crept out of the room with careful calculation. How I felt in the examination. Once again, ever so, I felt indestructible. test, but not so quick that my instructor would suspect anything of me, but so that I gave off the illusion that I studied for the examination. I smiled, for what had I to fear? Now, I aced the examination, that my pupils failed with horrid marks. The teacher pulled me aside to congratulate me on my endeavors. How I smirked, for it was that I deceived her, and I smiled gaily, though she thought I smiled gaily for my success on the examination, but it was for my success in my deceit. Without surprise, she questioned how I had done so well, for I had received poor marks before this examination. I simply told her that I studied, and she believed me so. Hark, I tell you, the old bat believed me. I was singularly at ease. We stood, and I answered her questions cheerily regarding my life. When I wished her gone, my head ached, and I fancied a ringing in my ears, but still she stayed and chatted. The ringing became more distinct. I talked more freely to get rid of the feeling, but it continued and gained definitiveness, until, at length, I found that the noise was not within my ears. But I grew very pale, but I talked more fluently, and with a heightened voice. The sound increased, and what could I do? It makes a low, dull, quick sound, much such a sound as watch makes when enveloped in cotton, its pitch gaining power and strength. Oh, good grief, the noise must be gone. What could I do? I formed, I raved, I swore. The sound grew louder, 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 but still. She chatted pleasantly. Was it possible she heard not? Almighty! She knew, she suspected, she was making a mockery of me. Horror! Dissemble no more. I admit the deed. I used the key on the examination. Here! I pointed to the drawer. My fingerprints are there. There it is. It is the hideous paper.